So the UAE's ambitions in space set to take another giant leap, with Abu Dhabi-based Orbitworks unveiling an AI-powered satellite constellation. It's set to launch in October this year, as we just heard in our business headlines. The company is also partnering with France's National Space Agency to deliver what is being called sovereign satellite capability. Lots of big space phrases there. So let's find out a bit more about it. Joining us now is Dr. Hamdullah Mohib, who is the CEO of Orbitworks. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you for having me here.
Good to have you. I'm interested by this first UAE manufactured satellite. It's due to ship next month, and then you're going to be launching them in October. What is it actually capable of doing?
So this is an Earth observation satellite, which means it can take pictures, it evaluates, through the multiple sensors it has on board, the situation on the ground, so you can use it for disasters and so many other things, whatever you can do with a camera and some of those sensors on board, which we will talk about, you can do from space.
Okay, so ultimately you're looking to launch something called Altair. That is an AI-powered satellite constellation. So you're clearly planning to put quite a lot of these satellites up in the sky, up in space. But for a non-technical audience, what does that mean? What is a satellite constellation?
So it means there are multiple satellites that can work with each other to achieve the same objective, because we are operating in the low Earth orbit, which means the satellites are orbiting Earth. They're not static in one place. And if you don't have multiple satellites, you are not going to have visibility over a certain location. And if you need that constant look, you need to have multiple satellites coming around to do that. So that revisit time is extremely critical and becomes very important in situations that require live coverage. And so the first constellation, the first satellite, as you said, will go on October, and then we will have the next 4 and then the next 5 coming in each quarter until we have all 10. And once we have all 10 in space, you have a revisit time of around 3.5 hours. So over a particular location on Earth.
Okay, so I know that Elon Musk has got a whole satellite constellation system as well called Starlink. Is this is different by the sounds?
Yeah, good question. I get that asked that a lot. So there is 2 tracks to satellites. One is communication, which is where Starlink is, and then the other is Earth observation. So the communication satellites, we have had them for generations. We have had them since the 1980s. The satellite phone is known to being used in far places since the 1980s. And so Starlink is the newest version of satellite communication. They have broadband and internet communication, and sometime in the future, direct-to-device communication coming up. And then there is the track of Earth observation, which is where you have a camera in the sky. So it's a whole different track, and people often confuse them because they think satellites are all the same. But satellites do so many different things, the communication angle is one that is very well developed and well known.
Okay, so these ones are observation. I can imagine that in certain situations, perhaps the situation that we faced over the last 3 months, this Earth observation could give the UAE something of a strategic advantage?
Yeah, so every country uses satellites. Even the most least developed countries use them for agriculture. So the UN provides some of this imagery to countries to plan their cities. There is a tremendous amount of usage. Insurance companies in the U.S. use them to give out payments to disaster-hit areas, because people make claims about their roofs being taken, whereas they could see the pictures from before and after. So there is a lot of usage by commercial entities as well as states. And if you have your own sovereign capability, it just means you can control when to use it and where to use it. But right now, there is a commercial market. There are a lot of companies that are both American and European and Chinese and Asian that are selling data, and we are a consumer of that.
So is it a benefit to us to have our own sovereign capability? I know we have really good relationships with so many different space agencies, not least NASA. Do we need our own?
Yeah, the reliance on others is only feasible when you're not at time of the most need. But if there is a sovereign need by their own, if the company, let's say, is an American company and there is a sovereign need by the United States, they're obviously going to prioritize. And there is only so many of these satellites in space, and they can only do so many tasks because they're restricted by power consumption. They're also restricted by when they are over that area. And so if the U.S. government calls and says, hey, I need a picture, they're going to prioritize that over the UAE, of course, at that point. And the same applies to every other nation. So having your own sovereign capability means you can use it when you want to use it, and you cannot be turned off or be rejected at a time of your utmost need. So you can prioritize your needs over someone else's needs. That doesn't mean you cannot serve other customers. You can serve customers all over, but whenever you need it, you prioritize yourself.
Okay, so $1 billion of investment over the next 5 years. You must be able to recoup that investment as well. Is this data valuable? Do you ultimately, can you sell the data and therefore recoup the money you've spent on building these satellites and putting them into space?
Yeah, this is Earth observation satellites space is growing, and it's a very profitable endeavor. Countries and companies pay a lot of money for these images. What we are trying to do is make it even easier, because we have onboard compute. Normally, you just get a picture, and you may get it much later than you need it. So you take a picture, you position a satellite to say, here is a picture, this is the area I need a picture for. You may be a development company, let's say in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, and you want to understand the lay of the land, and you want that picture, and you can wait because you have months to design. But let's say there is a disaster, there is a wildfire that may be erupting. But for that, you need to have that imagery quicker, or the hurricane has hit, you need the data quicker. And so you could be waiting hours to get that data, and before you can deploy the right amount of resources. What we're doing is making that compute on board possible, which means you get the information immediately. And so, which means you can reach your disaster hit areas quicker, or even prevent it.
I want to talk more about the commercialization of space, if that's okay, because we've got a $1 trillion IPO coming up with SpaceX. Are you happy to stay with us just for another few minutes over the break? Yeah. Thank you. We've just been speaking to Dr. Hamdullah Mohib. He is the CEO of Orbitworks.